Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March the 7th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday to everyone. Hopefully this energy finds you well, good on a Friday. If not on a Friday, because I know I'm recording late, hopefully get that Friday spirit whenever you're listening. Let's see. Work. It was good. It was a solid day. It was so slow. I would say the only bad part was like at the end of the day, it was just so like boring. I was like, I just want to get out of here. I just want to go to the gym. But I mean, I had so much downtime that I got to hang out with my favorite knuckleheads in maintenance. And, we had some talks. We had some good conversation. Maybe sometimes not so great, but, I endure. But yeah, overall, it was a good day. Let's see. Let's talk about the gym. Gym went well. I will say I'm having this growing issue. If longtime listeners know, what was it, about 6 months ago when I started this whole gym journey, I was going at about an hour or so. I think, yeah, it was about an hour. But that seemingly has bubbled and bubbled and bubbled. And now I'm at a point now where I'm going to the gym and I'm spending about 2+ hours at the gym, like over 2 hours, just sweating it up, flexing it up. And I'm happy about it. This isn't me complaining in that regard. I'm happy to put the time in. I'm glad that I have upped my endurance to this point where I can do that. And even if I'm gassed, like I can still rinse and repeat that the next day. It's just the problem is just like it's kind of been at just different intervals where I've noticed it. It's like, dude, there are not enough hours in the day. Like, and you're doing this every day. You're not having the day or two off that you're probably supposed to in order to like maybe put in the 3 hours or so. But at the same time, I'm just torn because my mentality at this point is just like, it's obsession. I don't know. Like, I want to keep at this. I want to keep after this. I know there's more to get. There's more gains to be had. So it's hard to quit it. It's hard to, downsize my time at the gym at this point for sure. But, that being said, overall today's session was really good. And, we love that. A bit of a, audio corner, bit just what I've been listening to. Past couple days, I've gotten back into the Conflicted podcast. It's a dude, he goes over like just like pockets of historical moments, big conflicts, or just big like historical like turnovers in society, and really goes into as much detail as he kind of can. And he's got this one of the newer little mini series he goes on is about the civil war in Bangladesh, or between Bangladesh and Pakistan. I'm sure I'm not describing this perfectly. I'm only halfway through, but it's been very informative. I've learned a lot, and oftentimes when you're learning about history in one place, you to learn it all or to get a bigger, better picture, you do see like the machinations that spill over into other countries, other nation states, and all the kind of shit that's involved in this big web that made these kind of things fucking happen. And, of course, I get to hear about my fucking favorite piece of shit, Henry Kissinger, who was involved in damn near everything. Fuck, yeah. So, it's been very informative. I've really enjoyed listening to it. But at the same time, obviously not, because just whenever you're covering a conflict, whenever you're covering a fucking war, especially when you have things like, horrible atrocities like genocide and shit like that at play, it's hard. And I'm over here trying to fucking hit a flex being at the gym, listening to this shit. And I realized I had like that 1,000-yard stare for a second. I was working on legs. I was like, I gotta lock in, but this is terrible, bro. And it's sad too, because it's like, that was some shit that was happening in the 70s. And I mean, look at where we are now, especially just from the American perspective, hands covered in fucking blood. Shit fucking sucks, man. And it sucks that this is like a tale as old as time, and it just seems to haunt society. We just never stop for whatever XYZ fucking reason. you know? So anyway, I know I'm getting really heady at the top of this shit for the blog part, but you know, hey, sometimes you got to do it. And hey, it's Friday, you know, you got to talk about things. You got to be, you know, got to do our thing. I don't know. Anyway, let's do a Bev corner, cuz guess what? I got the new spring edition of Red Bull. So you know the deal. I like to try these live when I can, or at least when I, you know, as a recording them and kind of give you my feedback, see if I liked it, if it was worth the hype or not. I missed when I tried the dragon fruit one. I want to say a couple weeks ago, and it was good. It was fine. Granted, I don't even think that was new though, because I looked it up and apparently I think that was just one that might be harder to find because it's not new. It's the opposite. So anyway, let's try the spring shit. It is grapefruit and blossom. I don't know what the fuck blossom is supposed to taste like. So here, let's see. Let's see if they're selling me a dream here. All right. Ooh, I ain't gonna lie to you. I fuck with this. I fuck with this like heavy, like off rip, and I'll tell you why. This tastes a lot like a Nos. I'm getting the grapefruit notes. I don't know about the blossom or whatever the fuck, but no, I fuck with this. This is pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Once again, it's still got the same problems though, right? It's still a Red Bull. It's still too small for what you're getting. But overall, you know, cool. Vitalizes body and mind. You know the vibe. All right, anyway, let's get to our startup and get into some news. Ooh, let's pick up the not Red Bull. All right, that's still good. Whew, okay. Now, let's enter the Trump verse real quick. We can hop in, hop out. From CNBC. Trump tariffs. U.S. pauses tariffs on some Canadian and Mexican imports until April 2nd. It has been a week of retaliatory actions, warnings of price hikes from businesses, and wild price swings in the markets. Investors and business leaders on edge about an escalating trade war continue to monitor fast-paced headlines from the Trump administration. President Donald Trump granted temporary tariff exemptions for Canadian and Mexican goods covered by North American Trade Agreement, or by the North American Trade Agreement known as USMCA, until April 2nd. About 50% of Mexican imports and 38% of Canadian imports are covered by the trade agreement, according to a White House official. Trump is poised to act reciprocal tariffs April 2nd on foreign nations that have import taxes on goods. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said Mexico should be spared when such reciprocal tariffs come into effect. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said his goal remains to get all tariffs removed. Also, it's worth noting, in Canada's sake, all this tariff shit, and like, I guess just with the press, Justin Trudeau coming out and talking, even though, he's not running again, he's set to resign when, new power, I guess, is going to take over or whatever. Essentially, this is boosting the Liberal Party. Now, from what I'm hearing, is it enough to keep them in the running, come the election, to maybe beat the Conservatives that are on the heels right now? Probably not. But that being said, Trump's fucking policies are so fucking bad. This tariff shit is so fucking bad that, like, it's making Trudeau look better. It's making the fucking Liberal Party there look better. So they're kind of trying to ride off the wave and get a boost there. And Trump, I think, is seeing that and trying to seize on that and saying that, yeah, actually, all the tariffs that I'm putting on them is Trudeau's fault. He's the reason that I'm doing this. And it's like, bro, you already said the reason, you goddamn Weasley fucking liar. Like, we all know at play here, you just want to fucking tariff the shit out of people and make them do what you want. That is what you want to do here. But it's not working because essentially people are and here's the thing. People, I think, understand what the fuck is happening. I know, like, at the end of the day, if you've never heard the word tariff or whatever, it's confusing. But it doesn't take much to go online and Google what the fuck a tariff is. And then, not to mention, you can start feeling the effects when the markets start reacting to the shit. So naturally, when the shit came into effect, everything started hitting the fan. And the market reacted very poorly, took a whole fucking dive, and that's something that Trump does not like, because that's something that he knows is immediately going to affect his approval ratings. It's going to make him look like a fucking asshole, and he doesn't want that. Even though I've been reading shit where he's like, yeah, I haven't even looked at the stock market. I don't even really give a fuck. I don't really care. Whatever. But it's like, no, dude, you do know. That's why, at the end of the day, he's letting like the automotive industry come and say, hey man, you can't, like, you got to do something, like, please at least give us something. And it's like, okay, I'll give you a month, I'll give you 30 days, and then, you know, exceeds to do this for a little bit here, a little bit of there, you know what I mean? The only people who didn't get an exemption, Thursday's tariff exceptions excluded those imposed on China. The country is standing tough, saying it's prepared to fight any type of war with the U.S., which I loved that quote, because essentially it's China saying, bitch, we're ready for whatever. We don't give a fuck. Like, we'll go toe-to-toe for you. We'll go bar for bar, band for band, all right? M for M. So, I mean, and that's the thing, Trump, and I'm kind of segueing off of this, there's a whole article here if you want. I just wanted to read the bullet points because I just wanted to, you know, just do a little tariff update. But Trump threatens new tariffs on Canada, including 250% tax on dairy. So, I mean, essentially, like, even though Trump is backing down, he's trying not to back down. He's still trying to put on this fucking face front. But it's like, dude, you are backing yourself into a whole ass fucking corner. Like, it's funny and it's frustrating, right? Because this dude is playing fast and loose with everyone's fucking life here, you know? But he doesn't care. He's doomed to repeat the fucking shit that he did in term one. It's just now he's more effective at doing it. But then guess what? You get the repercussions even faster, my guy. So what are we gonna do? You know, my God, Emperor, what's the play? And essentially, it seems like he's trying to do the thing where he has his cake and he eats it too, where, you know, he puts on this fucking brave negotiator face, but then he also kind of has to capitulate because he knows that, yeah, people are immediately feeling this shit when you put it in play. And then guess what? The small businessmen who voted for you are like, oh my God, what the fuck? I'm being boiled alive here. Oh my, no. And even up to bigger businesses, bigger corporations, because they're scrambling to figure out, how real are these tariffs? What are we fucking gonna do? How bad is the hit gonna be? So, you know, that's where I'll leave it with that for the tariff, the trade war bullshit. I know that it is something that is developing all the time. I was planning on talking about it yesterday and I kind of just missed the window. And then I was kind of glad that I didn't because I learned more about it today. So, I mean, it is a constantly developing thing here. Trump is definitely keeping me on my motherfucking toes. But, I mean, hey, that's news, baby. That's politics as usual. Especially with no Sleepy Joe. You know what I mean? Trump he's apparently wide awake. Anyway, let's move on. We talked about Trump. Let's talk about his buddy in chief, Elon Musk, and SpaceX. Really, this is about SpaceX. We really don't even have to mention Elon. NBC News. Oh, though I will say here, an aside, because I was kind of planning on talking about it. You know how I covered how there was a lady in Colorado and she was trying to vandalize and fuck up some Teslas? You know, that's trending. That's a thing. In France, there's been people doing some arson or some kind of like explosive shit on some fucking Tesla dealerships. And then I believe that they are looking for someone who was throwing Molotov cocktails at Teslas. Look, I'm not telling you to do that shit, but I definitely get the energy. I definitely feel the energy, okay? I get it, dude. Like, fuck this motherfucker. Fuck these fucking cars. Y'all know I hate a Tesla, bro. Like, not even because of the fucking Elon Musk, you know, bullshit vibe that is, like, in put on all of them. I think they're shitty RC cars. I said this before. So, like, look, I'm not rooting for Tesla in any way, shape, or form. But needless to say, that's neither here nor there. I just felt like kind of injecting that in there while I thought about it. SpaceX again loses its Starship rocket on test flight after explosion during previous attempt. So yeah, dude, they fucked up not once but twice in the situation. So oopsie daisy. After SpaceX's Starship mega rocket exploded during a test flight in January, the company had hoped for a better outcome when it attempted a launch on Thursday. But once more, the mission was cut short after controllers lost contact with the upper stage vehicle. The 400-foot tall Starship system rocketed off the launch pad at SpaceX's Starbase site near Brownsville, Texas at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time for its 8th test flight. But a little over 8 minutes in, roughly the same timing as the mishap in January, several engines appeared to cut off as the upper stage Starship vehicle was still accelerating into space. Live video showed the craft spinning before all communication was lost. Prior to the end of the ascent burn, an energetic event at the aft portion of Starship resulted in the loss of several Raptor engines, SpaceX said in a statement. This in turn led to a loss of altitude control and ultimately a loss of communications with Starship. The company said final contact with Starship was approximately 9 minutes and 30 seconds after liftoff. I think it's pretty obvious we're not going to continue the rest of the mission today, SpaceX communications manager Dan Huot said on the company's live webcast. Shortly after the accident, temporarily ground stops were ordered at airports across Florida because of space launch debris, including a Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport and Miami International Airport. During the explosion, the Federal Aviation Administration issued a debris response area, which prevented planes from entering the areas where space vehicle debris was falling. The agency said normal operations have resumed. I think apparently too that people got like images of this, and this also happened in the situation with in January. So I mean, yeah, it's a bummer in that way. And also the other one happened, I think, January 16th. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're not rooting for, Elon Musk, which, I mean, hey, same boat with you, you can be like, oh, yay, fuck SpaceX, fuck them, cool. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of these situations, it is kind of baked in that you're going to have a lot of failures. We've covered these kind of things before. A bit of a silver lining where they were able to catch the second thruster. And that's a good thing because in terms of these rockets, they're supposed to be very recyclable, which to me is a crazy notion that you're going to reuse a rocket. We're going green on the rocket, but they're not doing it to go green. They're doing it to save fucking money. It's cost effective, right? But to me, that seems kind of scary because we're going to keep using this and using this and using this until it blows up. That's a little scary. It's a little unnerving. But, hey, that's a silver lining that they got to pull that out. And like I said, it's all experimental, right? I think they do have to do an investigation. So there's that. There might be more details. I might be coming back talking about that in the future. But yeah, this was important to me in my mind because, I mean, hey, not one, but 2 explosions out of SpaceX. So let me go ahead and get on that. Let me go ahead and hop on. Let's go ahead, take a quick water break, and then we're going to talk about some porn, actually. All right. From ABC News, porn industry parent groups clash over online age verification. Supreme Court poised to rule on state laws aimed at keeping kids from porn. Apparently, they heard this shit in January. I just heard a story about this on ABC Start Here today about it, and then I was like, okay, let me look this up and let me, talk about this a bit. To Cherie DeVille, one of the adult entertainment industry's most popular stars, pornography and its easy accessibility online is a fundamental freedom protected by the First Amendment. This isn't a whim or something that I'm going to do for a week. I love this job, said the former physical therapist turned sex worker who has millions of followers on social media. It's a very good business for me. To parents with young children, like Dawn Hawkins of Virginia, America's multi-billion-dollar porn juggernaut is a social poison infiltrating families via the internet. How are we going to teach our children healthy intimacy and boundaries and consent when what they're viewing across multiple platforms is sharing really the opposite message, said Hawkins, who wants stricter controls for sexually explicit content. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of the things that is going to be decided by the Supreme Court, I believe, in June. So when I heard that, I was like, all right, let's go ahead and put it on the docket here on the pod. Essentially, we are talking a lot of age restriction kind of theories that are being bandied about, whether it is a third party. Essentially, when you go on the site, you get redirected to a third party. You have to show them an ID. They verify that ID, and then you can be on the site to look at the porn. Or there's like a biometric scan situation, or an age estimation system with, I guess, like maybe some AI technology splashed in there. But now it's being proposed, well, that's not something that the customer would have to pay for. You just have to participate. You have to opt in and give this information, which a lot of people are saying, well, what the fuck? Like, my fucking privacy. And this is one of those times where, like I've said before, I'm not big on it, but like, the idea that I have to show you my government ID, or you have to put my face or my fucking like fingerprint on there, that's weird to me. So I could do my thing. That's wild. That's wild. So I could be on the hub. That, to me, that's out of pocket. That's out of line. That's like, we're at the gates of prohibition again with this shit. And I don't think that is the way to be. I don't think that's actually helping children in any way, keeping them away from this shit. Though I will say, yes, you don't want to have kids involved in seeing porn, you know, at an early age. But I think that that's one of those things where having a sit down with your kid is important. If you feel like it is going to be a big issue and you don't want them to like randomly stumble upon it when you're not there or whatever, there is technology in place that you can put on your kid's phone, I would say. So maybe try that, as opposed to saying, I want the government, I want the state to handle that. But I mean, that being said, we do have this, you know, conservative majority, super majority. So, I mean, anything's possible. I know the Supreme Court has kind of standed, you know, against doing this kind of regulations before, but I mean, maybe times have finally changed for that. When I initially heard this, before I heard what they kind of had planned, like, you know, just from experience, I can tell you, when you go on like something like a Pornhub, they just have you click, at least in Ohio, I should say, because I don't believe every state is doing this yet. But you have to say, hey, I'm over the age of 18. You click that and you just go about your fucking business, right? That is very nondescript, whatever. But once again, the idea of having to put up or give more information, it seems a bit invasive to me. I don't personally agree with that at all. I also think that it's going to do more harm than good. I agree with the sentiment that is shared by one of the people in this article, where you are essentially trying to eliminate ethical pornography because it's going to push more people into doing unethical means and methods of, you know, putting out the content, because at the end of the day, they don't want to have to go through these barriers, these regulations. So, you know, I think you're doing less to help kids and more to potentially make more of a black market industry that you don't need to have. Also, this seems like it's one of those things where you're trying to stop the rain, because how expansive this is going to be. Like, you can say, okay, well, we're going to do this to Pornhub, the RedTube, the whatever the fuck, you know, insert here. But like, what about social media, right? Because to me at this point, I would imagine for a kid, that is your gateway, your entry point that's going to potentially pipeline you into this kind of shit, right? So like, so you're going to do like the OnlyFans, and then you're going to be like, well, if you're an OnlyFans model, or if you're someone who's on any of these other sites like Pornhub or whatever, you have to like hop on a registry or have like a link that does the redirection. It just seems so messy and so hard to actually police, and not to mention because of the fact that, once again, the onus is going to be on the industry to provide the money for these third parties to like do the face ID bullshit, yada, yada, yada. They're going to blow out their money, their budget for that. And once again, we're talking about, should this even be legal or on the level? I, once again, feel like no. So, you know, but hey, maybe I'm biased. What can I say? But yeah, I kind of just wanted to riff this one out. You know, definitely a very interesting topic. You know, I would love to hear anyone's feedback on this. I know I have a big spectrum of friends. So, maybe people with kids maybe feel a little bit different about it than maybe some single people like myself, I'll say. And not that you have to be fucking single or whatever to enjoy that sort of thing. But anyway, I'm getting in the weeds. Let's go ahead and move on to not that any of these subjects have been that fun. I mean, granted, rocket boom and it's Elon's, that's kind of fun. But this something went boom, and a man died in what I would consider a draconian way. But so it goes in America. From the Associated Press, a South Carolina man executed by firing squad is the first U.S. prisoner killed this way in 15 years. Apparently, we're so back to shooting people in the chest. So fun. A South Carolina man who killed his ex-girlfriend's parents with a baseball bat was executed by firing squad Friday. Excuse me. The first U.S. prisoner in 15 years to die by that method, which he saw as preferable to the electric chair or lethal injection. Something I kind of wanted to add is like a little bit of a mental personal aside. I felt like that's definitely important to mention that this was his choice. It wasn't like that it was forced upon him, but also worth mentioning, his reasonings for this are very valid. He didn't want to fry like in front of a bunch of people or whatever. That's not how he wanted to go out. And then not to mention, there's so many ways to like potentially get fucked in a lethal injection. And something he was worried about is like drowning in his own fluids. Not to mention, I've heard stories about shit potentially getting mixed wrong or, something going wrong with it. And it's just morbidly horrible. Like, there's no clean way that they're going to fucking do this shit. So for him, he's like, well, I'll do the firing squad. I guess it's going to be the cleanest thing. And the thing I have in the thumbnail is, I believe that's where they did it. And it literally just looks like a thing. Like, it just looks like a setup for a snuff film. Right? Like, and then I thought about it and I'm like, well, yeah, no matter which option you choose, this is like the Pokemon starter equivalent of like choose your own way to get done up. Like and my guy chose Bulbasaur. I'm trying to make light of it as I can, but it's just, to me, this is just so not right. But I know there's so many people out here, maybe not so many, but there are definitely people out here like, no, this is eye for an eye. Like he shouldn't have done this thing. And I do want to get into the crime that he did because it is very fucked. Let me read a little bit further. 3 volunteer prison employees used rifles to carry out the execution of Brad Sigmund, 67, who was pronounced dead at 6:08 p.m. Sigmund killed David and Gladys Lark in their Greenville County home in 2001 in a botched plot to kidnap their daughter. He told police he planned to take her for a romantic weekend, then kill her and himself. So obviously, fucked up individual. I obviously don't wish this man well, but the punishment of being buried alive for the rest of your fucking life, to me, is tantamount anyway. Like, you're already maxing here. You don't have to put blood on your hands any further, any more than that, right? But South Carolina said, nah, let's do this shit. Like, let's get back on the road. Let's fucking do it. And they got it cracking. They got it popping. Now that they go through the whole details, I'm gonna not go into those. You can read those for yourself if you'd like. The AP does go through the details. I'll say that much. So if you're interested in how the sausage gets made, it's there for you. Let me do a little bit of levity here. Let's take a little bit of break because I'm a foodie, right? There's some kind of allure to me about the last meal. As fucked up as and anti am at this point about the death penalty, there's something so like, there's got to be something there, right? To the last meal. There's just some kind of like intrigue, mystery to me with it. Prison spokeswoman Christy Shane said Sigmund's last meal was 4 pieces of fried chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes with gravy, biscuits, cheesecake, and a sweet tea. Something about that order is so clean and simple that I like it, but I also don't like it, right? Like, I do love the cheesecake because that's like my favorite dessert, and a sweet tea, that's pretty good. Pretty good. But like, it's almost like, man, you just picked a meal that you could eat on like a Thursday night or something, right? And this is the last meal you're going to have. But then there's something that's so like I get, because it's like maybe this is just a meal that he really liked, and 4 pieces of fried chicken, hell yeah, dude. So yeah, I mean, pretty good last meal. I'll say that much. But yeah, I don't think anyone should have to go through that kind of fucking psychological fucking warfare torture. Yeah, I get it. You did a bad fucking thing. You're a bad fucking guy. But yeah, eat your last meal and then get fucking done up in the chest. Awesome. And now what do we solve? You're not bringing these people back, right? Like, so, anyway. Let's see here. What else did I really want to pull from this? There's some more history or whatever, but, once again, I'll leave it for my avid readers. Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and call it cover. I just wanted to cover it mainly because I was at the gym and I saw this article about a dude just getting fucking firing squad, and I was like, huh? In 2025? So, I mean, it's a shame. I believe there's like 15 more people in South Carolina that are potentially on deck for execution. And, I mean, the Trump administration is not going to bat an eyelash about that. They're going to be like, yeah, put them more. We want more. We want more blood, more blood. I would not be surprised. So, anyway, I know we are steeped in death already. We're already waiting in it and pieces of chicken and gravy. But I got an update on Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa. So let's go ahead and close out with that, and we'll call it an episode. We'll call it a Friday. Let me take my last break. Oi. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, yeah. All right. We're back in the saddle again. From USA Today. Gene Hackman, cause of death released. We're just going to fast forward here a bit. Arakawa, 65, died from hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare disease that is contracted by contact with mouse droppings. The New Mexico Office of the Medical Investigator announced Friday. According to the CDC, hantaviruses are spread mainly by rodents and are not spread from person to person. And Hackman, 95, died from heart disease and complications caused by Alzheimer's disease and died from natural causes. So I know I initially said that like the opening suspicions, theories was that it was carbon monoxide. Maybe it leaked out, but they ruled that out, I want to say within like 24, 48 hours. So I was like, okay, but we don't have an actual reason yet. So I wanted to wait until we got, some kind of autopsy, more evidence to point to any kind of direction. Because I was listening to other podcasts, they were taking it there. You know what I mean? They were getting real true crime with it. And I understand the temptation, but regardless whether these people are celebrities or not, they're people, right? I don't want to jump to those kind of conclusions. So I figured, hey, let's just fucking wait. Not gonna lie, hearing how Arakawa died took me back to my mouse gate incident. And I was like, dude, it could have been me. It could have been me. And, now I'm even more paranoid about fucking rodents. So that's a thing now. That's haunting me. But I will say, good that foul play wasn't involved. It wasn't anything suspicious. The rest of this article goes through a bit of like Arakawa's last like day in terms of like contact when she was outside, things of that nature. But yeah, in terms of Hackman, so I believe Arakawa died first. But Hackman was probably not like in the mental faculties to really comprehend or, perceive any of that, and then dies from heart complications or, from the heart disease situation. He didn't die. He wasn't dehydrated, but I believe that they said he hadn't eaten in like days. And the dog, it seemed, died of starvation or dehydration from being in the kennel. Excuse me. And there were the 2 other dogs that were already outside, able to get in and out. So that is a bit of a recap, kind of final closing of this chapter between Hackman and his wife. Obviously, a very unfortunate passing, but goddamn, Hackman definitely did live a full life. Not that it was only just about him, but yeah, still all the same, very unfortunate. But wanted to close out with that story there. But yeah, that'll be the episode for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Hopefully you're subscribed to the YouTube, or you're following on TikTok, or you're following on Spotify. Hopefully hit that like button. Hopefully leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. If it's like Spotify or it's Apple, leave those stars, those reviews, those good things. We appreciate that. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.